welcome to Savage Worlds for Riff or Savage Rifts, Riff for Savage Worlds, whatever.
It's some combination of those words.
Combination of all of those words. And for the better information, at the end of our little video here, there will be some very precise information regarding the material that we're using.
As best as I can do, anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Now it's rifting, there's worlds, and much savagery.
Yeah.
There's lots of savagery. Savages all hell. So when we last left our laughing and intrepid heroes, they had made their way outside of New Durango to meet with an old man by the name of Sclavi to see what he knew about the gold.
Gold.
And Midnight, Midnight, also known as High Noon, who had been rifted here unceremoniously in the past, was having some difficulty remembering his previous life in the previous dimension. So he had gone to seek some advice from the Sky Knights and the other Lince Real who had offered to give him any help and told them that he was, part of their greater tribe of the Wind. So yes, why don't Midnight? How would you go about kind of seeking out the assistance of these particular allies?
Well, if I remember correctly, the last time we met, they gave me a signal of some sort that I could call them with for their assistance. So,
yes, they gave. I think it was like a pendant that you could like wear and sing in the sky or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I don't remember.
Well,
do you remember what it was?
It was something like that. Or maybe a song to sing or something. I don't.
Actually, that works. Let's say that they actually taught you a song to sing, simply because it would be difficult for someone who's not a Lince Real to actually sing this song, and it can't be stolen from you. Sure,
Yeah, I think
that sounds good.
Yeah, I think that was correct. And if it's not what actually happened, several episodes ago, we'll just pretend that Gwenpool came in here and changed the plot. So, and that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. So I got up in the air and sang to them because, I was having a mighty hard time remembering what came before this life. I know at one time I was being chased and everything before that gets a little bit foggy, so I needed a bit of help to soothe my nerves and fully transition to my present time.
All right. So you're up in the air, singing your song, and you kind of drift through kind of a wispy little cloud, and you find yourself you find yourself in an updraft above High Mountain Peak, and you can see below you the seated form of another Lince Real sitting next to a fire. Your familiarity with cloud magic, you would guess that the cloud was some sort of mystic portal to take you.
Whew, well, I ought to be used to that quick movement by now, but still a little disconcerting. But thank you, O wise and old one, for taking the time to see me here.
You have questions about your past? Ask them.
Well, I can't really quite remember what came before now. I was transported here not even 6 months ago through one of them rifts, and well, I feel as though I'm torn between two worlds now, stuck fighting my past while trying to accept my future. Is there any advice you have to help me fully accept what's come to be my reality?
When one doorway closes behind you, one will always open before you. It is your choice whether to wait for the things at the door behind or to go through the door ahead. But if you wish for your memories to be returned, then all you must do is... And then she kind of like, her eyes kind of roll back, and she says, and kind of like thinks again and then says, "You must believe that your memories can be returned to you." And then she says, you are a shit. How would she say that? You are a fledgling of our flock, and upon these winds you may ride and sing the song whenever you require.
Well, thank you so much. I think I understand. Have to accept the memories of my past life and of this life, fully feel whole again. That's a mite scary, I have to say, but with a little practice, I think I can find the bravery to accept it all. And if I can't, well, I know how to sing the song and find you again.
Fly high and fly proud, Sky Knight.
Thank you, old one. Y'all
And
take care.
she would, she's gonna do a little kind of hand ritual around the fire, and then throw down a big puff of something that creates a giant cloud of smoke and mist. It rises up and becomes a portal cloud. She says, "I can't get you as close to the place as you want, as you... It was easier to get you here than it is to get you back. I hope you don't mind flying a ways."
No, I could use some time to think.
And yep, she puts you... You end up, a ways north of New Durango, but you can kind of see off in the distance, off in the horizon, off over there near the edge of the horizon. So it's going to take you probably, a day or so to get back. No, not actually a day or so, probably half a day. And you'll probably have, a few days to contemplate and rowdy around the town while the rest of the party returns from their expedition.
Oh, great.
So, yeah, and you're going to get a penny for that. That was a nice little interlude.
Woohoo.
So the rest of the party back at the ranch, so to speak, out at Old Sclavy's place, he collects up his mule and says, "Okay, well, it's time to go, and gonna I won't slow you down, but I'm gonna head on back with you to New Durango and see what I can do about losing my homestead here in a game of poker and finding something else in that same game of poker. So yeah, let's go, and I'll work on making you a map about the route of that stagecoach and where it is. I think in that gold is be going." So he's gonna, unless someone has him try to do something otherwise, he's just gonna ride his mule as he's scribbling in a book.
Well, as long as he can keep up with the walker, otherwise I may, after a while, if we have to keep stopping and waiting for him, maybe offer him to ride along. But we'll not bother him immediately.
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to convince him to you're probably gonna have to convince him to get to maybe have the mule carried or placed inside, because it's only going about maybe 10 miles an hour at most.
Yeah,
so how would you go about doing that? I'm guessing you're probably riding your horse, your robot horse.
Well, since he's out there riding, because when we came this way, I just rode in the walker. But yeah, since he's riding the mule, I will be outside on Roger, and after half hour to 45 minutes or so of this, having to
pondering.
Let him do his thing, and we, watching the walker have to stop and make sure that they're not getting too far away from us. I'd be like, the weather could turn at any point here, Scavvy, and we're not making very good time right now. You might be more comfortable. We got room for you and your mule and all your stuff, and probably even a table or something you could work on that map and inside the walker there.
Well, I tell you what, there ain't no table or steadier than my mule, but
well, you can ride the mule inside, I guess.
I mean, I don't have to feed him as much if he's not walking, and I suppose you probably don't need to feed this big monstrosity anything. So, all right, sure.
All right.
It'll take a few minutes to stop the walker in a place where they can kind of open. It's got like a kind of like a cargo bay door kind of on the butt, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll take a while to find a place where that can be kind of opened up, but maybe an hour or so, and they're able to get everything loaded up. The mule, as is expected, is very loath to go inside. But they're able to use a winch to basically just put a harness around its entire body and just kind of like lift it up off the ground and hoist it in.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's standing inside, it doesn't even move. It's like, oh, okay, well, I didn't have to move. Cool.
It'd be a little different too with a horse. Horses don't like to be in closed spaces this much.
No, they really don't. No,
but mule, don't give a fuck.
Yeah, mules for the most part. That's why you take them into. That's why they're good for mining.
Yeah, take them into the.
Plus they're sterile, so you don't have to worry about their kids. Let's see, what do we got here? So you're able to get a couple miles. Couple miles more. I want to make sure we're because you're going to be able to get back that same day. It's just going to be late. It's going to be really late.
Mm-hmm.
That slowed you down enough that by the time you actually get back to New Durango, 35. By the time you get back to New Durango, it's going to be sundown. To the point where you're going to get to that farm that's about 10 miles out of New Durango when the sun is going down. Would you like to stay at the farm or continue to New Durango?
What's going on at the farm when we get there?
Not a lot. They had gotten everything set up. So there's a few, sort of small automated, turrets. There's definitely some, workers and farmers and, agricultural workers and electricians and stuff, and some guards. It looks like a fairly well operated, small protected place. So you would guess that the kind of thing that happened before would be less likely to happen now. And it is a good place to sleep for the night.
Yeah, and if there's no sense of us rushing back to New Durango late at night anyway, and if something happens here, we're here. So, yeah, we're gonna stop. Unless unless Mary, Spike, or Midnight are in a big hurry. Oh, Midnight's not here, but Mary or Spike's got in a big hurry to get back to New Durango tonight for any reason.
I'm rarely in a hurry for anything.
That's what I figured.
I don't really care.
And Mary doesn't care, so yeah, we're staying here.
All right. So let's roll behind the table here on some Doom.
Doom
See
table.
what kind of Doom in store for you. Okay, you guys are fine. You guys are fine. Nothing really happens for the evening. You actually, several of the people working there are some locals who had actually their other businesses had kind of gone out of business due to the previous unpleasantness, but they're just happy to have electricians and stuff. They hadn't had any jobs while everyone was leaving town. Now they're working here, and Tomorrow Legion seems to be paying okay. The other people seem cool, so they're gonna give you guys just some trinkets. Nothing like you can imagine the things they'll give you. Just a handmade bracelet, that one dude made out of some wire and just some random shit. They don't have a lot, but they're really appreciative that you guys came and kind of cleared things up, and things are getting back to normal.
That's good.
Is the kind of
Barry's Fish takes the weird trinkets respectfully, but he will be probably at some point disposing of them because he's got no use for such things.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Sun rises. There's a cookout here. They make you a nice, delicious breakfast, and the cook actually comes to talk to Spike and asks Spike what Spike actually eats. With your response probably being like sugar water.
Sugar.
You there, Brandon?
In water.
Are you there, Brandon?
I don't think Brandon is there. He is trying to speak and it's not coming through.
Yeah, we can't hear you, dude.
Nope.
Oh, gotcha. He's AFK.
Is he?
That's fine. Yeah. So he's away. He's actually talking to us.
Okay.
So okay. Yeah, and we're going to assume that the breakfast is fine because that seems.
There's no plot significance of it being bad or something.
No.
Right?
It was just a little bit of role playing. So.
It's just setting up.
But you guys are able to make it to New Durango. Oh, go ahead.
I said just setting the scene. New Durango. Here we go.
Yep. So it is. I need to change the date up here on the first page, so that I will keep track. April 20th. 420.
It's 420.
Oh, but no, Brandon. It was just the people at the farm had made you guys breakfast.
I think you just dropped.
And
Hello.
and the doctor was, or the cook was asking if sugar water was what you eat. Basically, we assumed. Yes.
Yeah, I could hear you for some reason. I was on my Bluetooth headset in my restroom, and apparently I could hear you, and it wasn't transferring me. I wasn't mute.
I think it was, but we couldn't hear it because your bars kept popping up.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I could hear you completely clearly, but apparently you could hear me. Anyway, I eat pretty much I eat like fruits and vegetables and stuff. I suck out the nutrients like Bunnicula.
Sure, yeah. Hey, exactly. Yeah. No, I figured. Okay.
That's a Bunnicula reference for all y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So okay. So yes, she gives you some the freshest vegetables available.
Yeah.
And you turn them wilty.
Yep. Pretty much. That's what it says in the book anyway. With my little finger suction cups.
Nice.
So guys will you guys will return to. You guys will get back into town around noon. Traveling's pretty good. You're able to get kind of up to Black Mountain, and then go along the road for the most of the way. So it's pretty smooth, pretty straightforward, and no obstructions.
Okay.
When you get back to town, what would you like to do? Sklavvy's going to once you get back to town, Sklavvy, wants you to take his. He just kind of pretty abruptly says, I'm still working on that map, but I want you to take my mule to the closest livery and get him taken care of. I'm gonna go down to the casino or gambling establishment or whatever you got in this town and see if I can't get rid of this property.
All right, we'll get it taken care of, Sklavvy. You go have your good luck on your transactions.
Oh, it's not my luck that needs to be good; it's somebody else. And during the drive, he would have explained that he essentially, since those worms showed up, it's not like his place is bad, but it's going to attract more worms, and he just doesn't want to deal with it. So he's going to try to essentially lose the deed to his land in a poker game and act angry about it.
Gaining something else.
Yeah, kind of gaining some money on the side, and then find another poker game to find another random piece of land. And he seems pretty excited about the prospect of just interacting with people.
Been out here being by himself for a long time, so yeah. Kind of hermited. He gets lots of visitors.
Yeah,
anyway.
Well, and he does say that, now that you know where he lives, he's got to move, because now everybody knows where he lives.
Yeah.
He lives out in the middle of nowhere so that he doesn't get found, There's always people looking for the gold. And those people are looking for the gold. They're always looking for Sklavvy. And so he's going to go do that. Midnight, you would have been able to get back sometime in the afternoon the previous day. And this morning you would be kind of doing what you would like to do. So, yeah, what would you guys like to do kind of when you get back? Erica's going to take the robot in. She says she'll take care of the livery. She'll take care of the mule, and, maintenance and stuff. Martina and Oscar also, basically say they're going to take care of that stuff too.
As I recall, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
As I recall, my lightning gun got fucked up on using it the last time.
I think you did get a critical fail on it.
Yeah, so I would maybe like to see if my lightning rod can be fixed.
Well, since Fletcher is now your liaison with the locals and is your quartermaster, he'd probably be able to at least point you in the right direction. There's a lot of people moving in, so yeah, you could ask him.
I will ask him, hey, can you fix this doohickey?
Doohickey.
Or tell me who can?
Are you going to go to talk to him by yourself?
I don't know. Does anybody else need to?
Anybody else going to go to talk to him?
I have other things going on. So.
When
I can meet up with you and help him.
Sure.
When you're walking up to Fletcher's sort of office, you can see him very uncharacteristically kind of leaning back. He's sitting behind his desk, kind of leaning back. And you're seeing this sort of from the side, like through a big window. You can see him kind of leaning back from his desk. And in his right hand, he is very uncharacteristically thumbing, through something on a data pad. It would be much more common to see him reading a book, of which there are several sitting on his desk. But more interestingly, you can see his left hand is actually on the revolver that's in the holster on his left leg. And it looks to be pointing at a man who is sitting across the room in his office. The man probably can't see that Fletcher's holding the gun, and Fletcher looks like he's doing his best to look nonchalant. And when you sort of brain blast him, he would say, "I have a visitor, and he's looking for Barry's fish. I'm trying to play it cool."
I say, well, that ain't me. I got this problem.
And he would say, "Okay, what you need?" And he would just continue to look nonchalant, but in the brain, he's like, "Okay, so what do you need?"
This gun, I done gunked it up. Can I? You know somebody that can make it ungunked?
And Fletcher says, "Oh yeah. And then he puts down. He. Are you still standing kind of outside, or did you actually come in the office?
It's my old buddy Fletcher. I know him.
You go right in.
Yeah. So he says through the mind link, he's like, keep an eye on this guy, and he's gonna start. He pulls out. He puts down the data pad, and kind of slides it in your direction. Kind of is like, this is like not a this is weird, like, as if like, and says, pretend like you're looking at this. And then he's gonna like actually pull out like one of his quarter mastery books and start looking through it.
I do as he says.
And he's gonna say, yeah, I think there's supposedly a techno-wizard there's a techno-wizard sent here to work on the reactor, and I think I should probably be able to schedule something in the next couple of days to have him look at what you've got and get it repaired. And if you'd be so kind, once you leave, could you send Barry's fish? He's been summoned. And then he kind of, puts the book back and kind of grabs the data pad and looks over at the other guy and says, "Oh, he's just he's here about some repairs." And then he kind of goes back to leaning back and, kind of keeping his gun trained at this guy from behind the table, looking nonchalant.
Okay.
And the guy at the table, the guy that's sitting there is just a very well-dressed, middle-aged, late middle-aged white dude, very well-groomed, well-dressed, doesn't really make any sort of like, noise or motion other than, his eyes definitely look at you when you come in and, follow you while you're, doing stuff. And then he doesn't really respond. He just kind of like inclines his head like in the affirmative when Fletcher says, "Oh, this is the guy." So he's just very impassive.
I'm going to go get my gun fixed, and maybe I'll see Barry's fish. If I see him around, I'll be like, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah.
Fletcher wanted me to tell you this thing.
Yeah, kind of already forgot.
But I'm not.
Fletcher actually just tells you to leave the rifle, and he'll just take care of it. Like he'll get it to the techno wizard when because he has the whole the guy's whole schedule in front of him. So he's us looking at where the guy's got in a gap, and he says in the next couple of days he'll be able to squirrel something.
Okay.
And he actually like fills out a tag, ties the tag on, hands you gives you the receipt, keeps the carbons, like all of that.
Then I walk out like I'm like in my head I'm like Star-Lord from the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, but from the outside it's like Star-Lord from Endgame when they're watching him without the headphone music.
Yeah. Right.
And I'll eventually work my way to although I suppose technically I'm more like Groot.
So yes, so Buried Fish, you would have probably gone to deal with like regimental stuff. I'm assuming, kind of like the.
I delegated that, and I just wanted to go check in on Percy Rich to make sure he's staying out of trouble.
Yeah, and I would guess that. Let's see what Percy's got to offer here. Yeah, I mean, you would see that while he is a greedy bastard, there are enough people around him keeping him honest enough. He definitely is not always. He's never going to be on the up and up. But as long as the money is good, he's willing to grow a conscience. Yeah. You know, like that seems to be a reasonable.
Hey, when you have connections with black market, you have to, be kind of allow a little bit of.
And he kind of doesn't have to do a lot of stuff now that you've kind of taken his actual like work interest out of a lot of the since what's her name? Since the lady essentially is kind of like owning and operating that generator now, he has a lot more free time, which, maybe not as much money, but, he doesn't have to do anything for his dividends anymore.
Right. I mean, I'm assuming he's starting to get new employees and probably some old employees returning to work in his mines. So
he's not, he's still a greedy bastard, and that if he has a chance to make money on the sly, he will do it. Yeah. No questions asked. Preferably, no questions asked. Actually, that's a stipulation on the contract. No questions.
Yeah, it's just more of a friendly visit, just a reminder that we're still here.
He's kind of like, initially he's kind of like, he's kind of like comfortable, but then once he realizes that you're checking up on him, he kind of like, oh, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and we're making sure that these things, and he's perceptive enough to know that, and he gets the message. He gets the message for now, because the Tomorrow Legion is the highest bidder right now at the present time. He would mention that, like, there's been some good communications and some brokerings between the Tomorrow Legion and his sources, able to get some material back to the Tomorrow Legion, at least to see how they feel about it,
Yeah.
Say definitely got sent back. At least one of their sidewinders had to kind of send it back on the sly because they're kind of, the coalition doesn't like them very much. But coalition doesn't run the world.
No,
see how the Tomorrow Legion likes it. Sent back some of our other more top of the line guns. So I will keep you appraised, Lieutenant Buried Fish. I'll keep you appraised.
Very well, Percy. Mr. Rich, you have a good day.
Oh, every day is better than the last. He chuckles.
And I say,
kind of uncomfortably.
Let's keep it that way. As I walk out.
All right. So midnight, you wandering around?
Yeah, I think I probably followed Spike to see his gun get fixed, see if he needed any help, and when he didn't, just wandered around town, making friendly with everybody.
Getting fully acquainted with his current and future life so that he can then appreciate his past. Yeah.
Exactly.
Pondering the ideas that was put in your head by the elder Linsrial. So.
All right, and Mary, what would you be doing?
probably getting ahead of as much paperwork as I can because I'm not going to be around for the next little while.
Yep. And in doing so, your office is essentially the bigger office that's next to Fletcher's. You would also see the exact same scene that Spike saw, although you can't really talk in Mind Link, so. Like, would you would you be asking him about, work, or would you just kind of ignore the whole scene and go to your office?
Fletcher is a dragon. He can handle himself.
And when you walked by, he would kind of just nod, like, okay, like, nice. You're back to work. Clocking in.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, and he didn't ask for, and he definitely didn't ask Spike for help. He just said, someone's here to see buried fish. So yeah, nope. So you are able to you get back and you actually find that a lot of your paperwork that you thought was going to be there is not there. And you see just a few short notes in very limited English that Fletcher delegated most of the responsibility just because you've got better things to do. All you really need to do is just essentially just kind of like review some of the more major things, which essentially just have to do with convoys to and from the Tomorrow Legion, which all seem to be in order. Yeah, I mean, you really don't have a lot of work to do. It seems like the work has been delegated, but you definitely have spare time now. So eventually,
Barry's fish gets the word somebody's looking for him.
Eventually, Fletcher actually does send you a message, like via like your communicator. That's like, someone's here to see.
Like, well, who is it? Who's looking for me?
And it's like a digital. You would guess he's actually using probably like a data pad or something to type it out. This text. Someone's here to see you. Says his name's Mr. Royal. Says the business is between you and him.
I don't think I know Mr. Royal.
You probably you would not, unless it's maybe coincidental that the name is someone.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell at the moment. So, all right. Well, people looking for me is never a good thing. But well, it could be. But I'm gonna.
He adds one thing to it. He adds that he's wearing some sort of like. He's wearing a lodestone, and like a lodestone, sort of like it's like a mystic jammer. So like it essentially just fouls up any attempts to detect the person that's wearing it. Like,
lovely.
Yeah. So you would guess that Fletcher probably tried to like look him, tried to detect him, but was incapable of doing so.
All right. Well, I won't waste too much time. Business is done with Percy. I will head over to Fletcher's office and see who this Mr. Royal is. And
yep. So you walk, up kind of to, it's like an office with, like the big windows. You can see Fletcher sitting there. He's still sitting pretty much exactly the same position, kind of like thumbing through his data pad, with his hand on his gun. The other guy's still just sitting over there across the room. How would you approach the situation?
Well, I would try to just not even notice Mr. Royal, this person, and
yes.
I obviously be trying to using my peripheral vision and listening and stuff in case he.
Sure.
But I would kind of just go in and right up to Fletcher and it's like, you asked to see me?
Yes, Lieutenant. Oh, here, we're just gonna assume that Fletcher's spells are gonna go off the way that they need to go, just for speaking languages. Actually, you know what? He's got a translator. He's got a digital translator. So he would speak in his language, but you would hear it as language. You would say, yes, a Mr. Royal, is it? He would sort of look over to the guy kind of expectantly.
Then I would look
and
over.
I would just nod kind of like in the affirmative. Like just, yes.
All right. Keeping a very it's a very relaxed but definitely not unguarded stance as I kind of turn and like, Mr. Royal, is it?
And he would nod and he would stand and extend his hand, like to shake.
All right. I will do so while watching his eyes. What kind of outfit is this guy wearing?
He's wearing like kind of like a business. It's a very it's like a business suit, but it seems to be made of kind of more robust materials, but very stylish, very clean, very well tailored. I put a token like of his face. He's very dignified, very flat face, very his hair is slicked back.
Welcome to welcome to this Tomorrow Legion, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, you can smell maybe not perfume, but cologne, So this guy's definitely not like a roughneck, it seems.
Certainly.
But yeah, he extends his hand as if to shake.
Yeah, well, I will shake his hand.
And
what brings you to New Durango, Mr. Royal?
You do, Mr. Barrett's fish. I was sent to find you and retrieve you.
Oh, really? And who are you working for?
Well, one of the terms of my contract is that I not discuss the nature of my employer. You understand?
Oh, I understand completely. So, why don't you, with that particular unfortunate set of arrangements that you have made, unfortunately have to go home and tell your employer that you were unable to secure Sir Barry's fish and that you apologize and hope that won't affect your future employment with whoever or any other clients of yours. So,
well, Mr. Barrett's fish, this can go one of a few ways. You can join me willingly, in which case you can bring your friends,
Did we just lose Jordo?
Oh, I think so.
I think we did. Right in the middle of the sentence again. I will type to him.
It's hard to be intimidating. You get cut off in the middle of your ultimatum.
Yep.
Okay. Hello?
You said you can either come along with it and bring your friends, and that was the last that we heard.
You can either come along with me willingly. You can bring your friends. You can bring your allies. You can bring your robot. You can bring your drunken prospector friend if you so desire. Or you can choose not to, in which case it will become much more expensive for me, but you will still be retrieved and the methodology will not be so gentle.
And there's nothing else you want to tell me about what you need me for? I mean, you said you can't tell me who.
Oh, well, your services are required.
And what is the nature of the what of my skills are actually useful to your employer?
The kind of skills that cyber knights are useful. The kind of things that cyber knights are useful for. You are a cyber knight by all accounts. You do have the sword, yes?
Yes. But I don't tend to we tend to be do honorable deeds and not working in all this kind of secrecy. So I don't. I get the impression that whatever you want me to do isn't on the up and up. No,
I know
no
all
offense.
about your code. We know all about your code.
Yeah.
And we would not ask you to do something that would objectively go against that code. However, your attendance is required.
Well, you'll have to give me some time to think about that. I will not be able to make that decision right now. I have a lot of responsibilities here.
Very well. You have a day. I'll be at the bar, the one with the large dog person, canine thing. What is he?
I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, Jacoby's a good.
And he would just kind of okay, and he would then just get up and nod at Fletcher and nod at you and walk out, and in leaving, he appears to be walking in the direction of the bar.
Well, after he's been plenty far away, I will not be leaving Fletcher's office, and when a significant enough time has passed, I'm like, well, Fletcher, what do you think of this guy?
And he's after the guy leaves, he definitely relaxes a lot more, and seems to actually start to kind of go back to work to kind of take his mind off it. But he says, I couldn't detect him, but he didn't smell right. He had all that perfume on, but he didn't smell right. And I kept him there, sitting there all day. He didn't move unless someone else entered the room. I don't know. He's dangerous.
Clearly.
And says, I will pass on any of his future visits to you, if you don't mind, sir.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
He does say, and then Fletcher does say, I'll ask around. I'll see what I can find.
Okay. Hopefully somewhere in this building we've got some security cameras or anything like that I can get an image of what this guy looked like, so that I could
sure that would have been one of the first things that Tomorrow Legion, that would have been the first thing that Porcupine Command did. Full surveillance on all of your buildings. So yeah, absolutely. Heck, you could probably walk over to Mary's office and Mary would be able to, you would have to fill out the paperwork, but she would be able to provide you with all of the stills you need.
Yeah. All right. It's like, as soon as we get that taken care of, it's like, Mary, I'm going to need your assistance. If you could come with me, we may have a problem.
It was with that guy in Fletcher's office, wasn't it?
Yeah. We're gonna gather the group together, and we have a day to see if we could find out anything about this guy or what he might be doing here, and then make our decision on how we're gonna proceed.
Any idea what he wants?
Oh, not at all. It's probably not good.
Oh.
But he claims to need my help or need my services, and he didn't give me much of a choice whether I wanted to or not.
Just your services?
Yeah, in particular.
He did say if you came willingly, you could bring your friend. You could bring your friends.
Right.
but if not, like, no promises.
Yeah, there was
Okay.
kind of an implied threat that I would just be taken against my will to help out, or so forced into helping them if I didn't do it willingly. So, but we're gonna see if we can find out more about this guy. We'll talk to Jacoby. We're gonna go gather everybody, then we're gonna try to get Jacoby out of the bar. He's going to Jacoby's bar. I'm gonna see if we can meet him, Jacoby, somewhere
Doesn't
else.
he have like a back room or something?
Yeah, I don't even want to go to the bar right now. Let's see if we can find an excuse for Jacoby to meet us
Sure.
somewhere else. After he's probably looked this guy over, we're gonna actually go talk to Percy Rich. We're gonna talk to Sclavy, and anybody else important that I might know in town. That's like the sheriff here. That we didn't give a name to. I don't believe
He is ex-juicer sheriff, man. He is ex-juicer sheriff.
Yeah, ex-juicer sheriff, and see if anybody's got anything on this guy.
So sure.
But I'll get Spike in midnight, and I probably round up Sclavy too at this point.
Yeah. Fletcher would offer to just sort of run around and act like shapeshift into the form of a child, and just basically
Fletcher can come with
like
us
run
too if he
around and
wants
do
to.
a lot of shirt tail tugging. Like,
Yeah,
hey, Mister.
you know about this guy. Yeah.
So you'll be able to at least get Jacoby out of the bar, and Sclavy too, because Sclavy was at the bar actually talking to Jacoby. Fletcher didn't know who Sclavy was, but your description of him was pretty clear. There aren't that many, old prospectors. So, I mean, there are, but not like this. So, like, he's able to get those two first. And he definitely does see the guy, this Mr. Royal, sitting at a table in the corner in the bar, drinking. But yeah, Jacoby and Sclavy come out.
Yeah, wherever they end up meeting us, it's like, what do you?
It would be wherever you wanted. Yeah, wherever you wanted to meet.
Yeah, probably just somewhere comfortable, so we're not too suspicious. But if there's somebody's opened a little diner or like cafe with outdoor seating. Kind of
yeah, you know what? Like with all the people coming back, there have been a couple people who've set up like lunch tray, like restaurant trailers.
Yeah,
food trucks. Yeah, food trucks. Yeah.
Yeah,
with some chairs. Yeah, sure.
That works. Yeah, and then so I want to know. Well, Jacoby, Sclavy, you saw Mr. Tight Neck. What do you think of him? You recognize him? Any idea what he might be doing here?
Sclavy just chuckles and said, "He's the kind of fella that I've been gambling with, so I don't know nothing." Now, if you'll excuse me, and he looks at Jacoby, and Jacoby says, "We'll work something out." And Sclavy nods and has a smile on his face and scuttles back into the bar. Woo-hoo-hoo!
I said to Jacoby, it's like, do you own an old ranch now?
You could say it's a partial stake.
Yeah.
Turns out the old fool has silver in those caves. Turns out the old fool says he's got silver in the caves underneath his plot, but doesn't have the equipment to actually mine it out himself.
Sure.
I'm sending some people to check it as we speak.
Watch out!
We'll see.
Watch out for the giant worms, the canyon worms. That might be a problem.
Canyon worms. He did say that it was a bit smelly.
Yeah.
I understand his allegory.
Okay. What about you? You've been around the areas. You've seen a lot of people coming and going. Seen anybody like this before?
And he says, not really, but his credit line is substantial. He paid in local currency and put more just on tab. He's throwing money around. I think it's intentional.
Yeah. I'm doing with either potential powerful allies or potentially powerful enemies here, and the fact that I have no idea for sure
The thing
worries
is,
me.
she's being creepy on purpose.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't
do you like
intimidating.
say like do you mention that to like out loud, or is that sort of like kind of behind the board?
I figured that he told me about the conversation on the way here, and it's like,
Yeah, like
After
everybody's
that-
in the loop at this point and heard this, so I assume we're
Yeah,
all in.
but-
Jacoby say
if someone asks for help, we tend to help them. Why is he being all?
well, like here's the thing. Jacoby mentions, look, not everyone out here is, not everyone out here is bound by the same rules that you're bound by.
Yeah.
At a certain point in time, money is the highest law out here. If someone's put a bounty on you, I'm not going to turn you, but there are plenty of people who will. So running is oftentimes much more difficult than walking into the lion's den.
All
I
right.
will see what I can do. I'll see if I can trace his funds, but the kind of person that's willing to make a brazen threat to a cyber knight, a deputy, and a lieutenant in a paramilitary organization, that's bold.
Very bold. Well, we also know some other kind of shady individuals, so we're gonna go talk to our old pal Percy Rich and see if because I have a feeling if this guy's been around, Percy might know what's going on, at least a little more than anybody else around here. So we're gonna cross our fingers and hope that we can convince Percy to give us some info on this guy.
And he says, good luck on getting the truth from that old rattlesnake.
Yeah, well, sometimes even a half truth or a lie could tell us, something we need to know.
And he nods and says, I'll see if I can trace his funds.
I would appreciate that.
And he goes back and he just seems to be muttering to himself about, stupid investments, and cyber knights are more honest than prospectors. That's for
Yeah.
So yes, you're returning to Percy Rich.
I'm gonna be much more friendly demeanor as I go in this time.
Yes,
not that I was
this
mean
time
before.
when he sees, when he sees that there's all of you,
Yeah.
at least the four of you, like he would kind of almost like what like and he would just be like, what did I do something wrong?
No, not yet. And actually, I think this would be a good opportunity to start rebuilding our, building a better relationship here. Things we obviously didn't get off very good on the right foot earlier. I know our interests are different, but
I'm not buying any of it. Whatever you're selling, I'm not buying.
No.
He says, and then he cracks a smile and he says,
Yeah, well,
"What do you need?"
maybe we're buying.
Okay.
I show
what-
that I show him the picture of this guy, and like, if you can tell me anything about this guy or who he works for or what he might be doing here, the Samara Legion might be able to reward, compensate you handsomely for that.
And he would rub his chin and he'd take the picture and he's gonna take it back. I'm assuming he would have went to his office or his house, he's got work to do. So he's gonna take the picture and he's gonna set it down and he's gonna scan it and he's gonna hand it back to you and say, "Yeah, I told me his name was Mr. Royal. At least he told one of my associates that his name was Mr. Royal."
So he was
And
here.
then he's gonna sort of go ahead.
So he was here too, huh?
Well, he wasn't here, but
Well,
he
yeah.
was as good as. And he walks over to his desk and he flips through, a set of data disks and finds the one he wants, and he clicks it, and he says, yes, he stopped through about week, maybe 6 days ago, and wanted to buy several of our tarantula crawlers and a couple sidewinders with some interesting modifications. We did not have anything in stock, and they weren't willing to pay the exorbitant prices that I expect if we don't.
Interesting.
His credit seemed to be in line. The upfront payment of $70 million was cleared, though we unfortunately had to return it because we could not perform services. But he seems legitimate. Why? Done something wrong?
Potentially.
Is he in the market for more?
Well, he's in the market for something. I don't know if we should be giving it to him.
Hopefully not on a permanent basis. We do not run slavery.
Yeah. Well, if you find out anything else anymore, a bit more specific, well, I'll definitely be looking to help out. But just know, even though what you've provided me here isn't that much more than we already know, your cooperation is definitely appreciated, and it will be very helpful for both of us in moving forward into the future New Durango. So thank you very much, Mr. Rich.
And he nods, and he actually makes a copy of the order that the guy wanted. They were not able to do. In case you want to look over it, but in detail. But other than that, he shrugs and he says, "It's a living. You keep making it worth my while, and keep doing what I do."
Well, you get your finder's fee when we order stuff, so from the Legion. So,
oh, you don't worry about old Percy. Percy's finder fee is in the fine print.
Well, I want to gather our little group of four here, probably back at one of our command bases, and get everybody else's opinion on what they think here, how we should approach this.
I would actually, Mary would actually ask Bear, what is it that Cyber Knights are able to do that's unique to them other than just killing big monsters really easily?
Well, the fact that a lot of high technology, used against us, ways of dealing with that. So there's that.
It's just combat, right?
Yeah.
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
What's your cyberkinetic awareness allows you to do something extra with that?
Yeah,
right?
and it.
Because I don't think Mary would actually know.
Yeah,
it's just good at fighting.
Let's say when we in situations that other kind of similar in a way, but different from Midnight, having a bit of a negative effect on technology around. But mine's a little more broad.
Midnight's is more proactive, and Sir Barry's Fishes is more reactive.
Yes.
I'm just like I doubt it's a bounty, because the only people that I can think of that would want a bounty on Cyber Knights would be the.
I have a thought in mind potentially, but why he wouldn't just come himself? And he doesn't have that kind of money to I don't go into any details on that, but
okay. That sounds personal, so I'm just going to drop that.
Yeah, it's family, but there's not. It can't be. It doesn't make any sense. So
maybe a bunk, maybe a super high tech bunker, maybe
possibly.
But again, why wouldn't you just come out and say that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I need you to.
if it's a noble like cause, you would just like ask for the Cyberknights' help, and if and so.
And if it's money, why would you just say
So,
I need to hire you for a job?
Yeah. So it's either a trap. The fact that he's actually letting all of us come is it's a weird trap, but I think it's
Could
more
be
of a
it's not
like
you you're
it's not
after.
like a trap to get us. It's like, hey, you're trapped here, and now you have to help us because you're not getting out of here with any of us because you're here. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's more of that kind of trap.
I mean, hopefully it's not. We're gonna have to go into the trap one way or another, aren't we?
Yeah.
We can't risk them attacking New Durango for some stupid reason.
Well, there was an old pre-Riffs movie. These characters that were, in a way, very much like Cyberknights. I think they called them Jedi or something, and one of the characters said "Spring the Trap." So, I guess unless anybody else had any objections to it, I think we're just gonna have to go spring this trap and to find out what's going on. But it could be very dangerous.
It's not something that. And pray that it's not another, we need someone with skill and not to bash something in, because we can't do anything like that.
Yeah.
Unless we need paperwork done.
Spike, Midnight, do either have objections to springing this trap?
Well, after we travel down into that cave, I feel like we know what it's like to wander into danger. This ought to be no different.
So long as the danger can be punched or killed, yeah.
And I say, I don't really like trap. I much prefer country, but
What?
but let's do it.
That's a music joke. All right, all right. Well, he gave us a whole day, but I'm gonna try to like get him when he's most off guard. He's in this at Jacoby's.
He's in Jacoby's, sitting at like a back corner table. Yeah, at least that's where they said he was, And Jacoby said he was drinking the good stuff. Like, said he was definitely drinking the good stuff and throwing money around.
All right. Well, he's gonna just hang out there probably. So if he sat all day he's not going anywhere. We're not gonna catch him off anywhere else. I almost want Spike to just walk through the wall right near the booth where he is and just freak him out while we come in the other way, but no.
That might mess with Jacoby. That'd be me.
Yeah, no, we'll just go in and I'm gonna buy whatever expensive thing he's drinking from Jacoby, and I'm gonna go over and just slam it pretty hard on the guy's table over there, and like all right, you win. I'm gonna even.
Oh crap! I just thought of something.
What's that?
So yeah. Go ahead.
What were the modifications that he wanted for the Sidewinder?
Why don't you make your academics roll?
Okay.
You're not going to take a penalty because these are actually kind of like quarter mastery, like you'd be well equipped to deal with it.
All right. One off.
Well, you're not exactly sure. The modifications like to the Sidewinder are minimal, but it had some sort of special gun, but you can't quite figure out the technical babble. But on the spider, they have like these giant walkers that are like tarantula walkers. He was definitely trying to get like net casters and like bolus launchers, like non-lethal captive systems.
Okay. Meanwhile,
But
the gun. What was it? Was it magical or anything, or just completely technological?
no, this was all tech. This was all tech. There's no
Okay.
hint. There's no mention of any sort of magical stuff. It's all just like, and like realistically, the other modifications are just the kind of modifications that you would put on to just give it like, longer runtime, greater reliability in, harsh conditions and stuff. Like some triple layer filters for all of the intake. And some.
How big of capture nets? Like human size or? Big?
Oh, easily human sized. I mean, like the captive nets, they seem to be. The captive nets seem to be some sort of a variable. Like it seems like a variable spray mist net. It essentially is like a kind of like Spider-Man type net, and it has kind of like a limited reservoir of that. But that was a big part of the problem. You can see from the order that like this kind of technology is like, it's experimental at best, and what they wanted couldn't be guaranteed.
And he was trying.
And Bandito Arms, they may be below the table, but that table has standards.
And he was trying to buy that here.
But he was trying to buy it, yes, at least locally.
Yeah. That is.
Percy was not specific with which one of his, cohorts, but it was, close enough to be,
Close enough to be that this could just be Dayford.
Percy basically said, I wasn't there for the conversation, but I was, so.
This almost feels like something we were meant to find. Jesus Christ.
That's true.
But yes, that's what you were able to find. In those were the only anomalous things. Like I said, a lot of modifications to make them way better at like, harsh terrain, and way better at like long range operations.
All right. If we're going to be going on our own, we're going to be needing stuff as just like that, most likely. Which we just outfitted our robot for those exact situations, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, god damn it.
It's all too perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
oh,
you figure that out?
Being an asshole.
Yep. Set that bottle of good stuff down in front of him on the table. Make a nice loud clank as it hits there, and say, "You win." What are we doing? Where are we going?
Did you say you take the whole bottle?
Yeah, I bought a whole bottle.
When you do, like when Jacoby hands you the bottle, he says, "Now, we're friends, but I'm going to charge you for that."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm paying for it. I'm not taking. I was fully intending to pay for that.
It is going to be, yes, it is going to be he's going to give you the discount, but it's still a 5,000 credit bottle.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
It's expensive.
I'll pay for that out of my own pocket.
So he's only going to charge you for because you're a friend, but like he said, yeah, like, I mean, these things are like, he could sell it for probably 1,000 credits a shot.
We honestly don't spend that much money on it.
And nobody drinks it, yeah. So like, he's not selling it. But so you set that in, and the guy, Mr. Royal, he kind of like, he doesn't appear startled. He just nods at you and, lifts up his glass and kind of clinks it with the top of the bottle and drains the glass and says, "All right, let's go." I assume you have some form of conveyance.
Well, obviously. We took it on a nice trial run just the day before, so I think we're in pretty good shape. We're gonna have a lot to make it sure it's checked out before our tech team before we take out again. But I have full confidence in my team of getting a thing ready to go out on another trip. So
excellent. Well, I guess if you'll need me, I'll still be here. I'll have to drink something else since you bought the whole bottle. But good.
Where would you
We
like?
won't have
Would you like
alternative
to
measures.
meet us somewhere tomorrow, say 11 a.m., and tell us where we're going?
Why don't you make it sunup? Why don't you make it sunup? We can get going early. That way we have plenty of daylight to travel.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we'll have the vehicle ready to go by then, but I'll see if they can work a little extra hours tonight to make sure it's ready to go.
Excellent. So yeah, so you're going to tell your people to get working. They're already, by the time you actually get to them, they've done most of the basic maintenance. You didn't travel that far. And with an electrical engineer and a mechanical engineer, in addition to your pilot, you're running pretty lean. So that's good.
Right. I'm throwing out these at weird times just to see how he reacts to it. I figured it wasn't going to take much to get it fixed up, but I want to kind of see how big of a hurry he's actually in. So he's told me more than he maybe wanted me to know. Maybe he did want me to know it. I don't know. So, I guess that worked out.
But yeah, they say that like they have it ready to go. And I mean, if you're walking into it, like, are you going to tell them what you intend to do? Because at least Erica's going to be, if you're taking the robot, at least Erica's going to go along to pilot it.
Oh yeah, no. I'll let
If
them know.
you want Oscar and Martina to come along for support, they have other skills in addition to being technical and mechanical.
Yeah, well, we're gonna need technical mechanical in case something goes wrong anyway.
We're not assholes, so we'll tell them what we're going into.
Yeah, tell them
Oscar
what
is.
we know, which is not much at this point, but it's probably gonna be dangerous, and that it's probably they're expecting us to have to use this. Do we have any sort of extra stuff could be between now and tomorrow morning put on this thing that would accomplish a singular goal of entangling people? Do we have anything here that we could just in case? If we don't, it's fine.
To entangle people.
Yeah, we could maybe craft a net gun or something.
This thing's too big.
I have the spell Entangle.
I know you do. So there's that.
that'll do it.
So I just, what we know, if we can prepare for it.
You know what? This is a good time for me rolling on a probability table. So I'm going to roll a probability. No. Like right now, there's not enough material. You would sort of basically send word to Percy, and Percy would more or less say that like there's some there's some black market stuff that might work, but it's going to be 2 days at least.
Yeah.
You could jury rig. You could now one of your let's see, who is it? Oscar, the electrical engineer, does posit you could potentially jury rig. It would be dangerous and it would mess with your sensors, but you could jury rig essentially your reactor to overload just a little and eliminate a few specific portions of insulation between essentially the exterior armor of your bot and essentially these live wires, and to basically create an entire stun field that envelops your robot. But
no,
it would screw with all of your sensors and could raise a bunch of problems.
Let's not do that.
No.
Let's not do that.
That sounds like bad.
No, thank you.
We'll have to tell all the other people in charge, stuff like that. That effectively someone very wealthy apparently is basically threatening New Durango if we don't go, and we might not.
Well, he didn't threaten New Durango. He said if you didn't come in quietly, he was going to get you another way, and that way was not going to be anywhere near as gentle. So that's very vague, but Lieutenant
he's
Grant would
vaguely
definitely be like,
intimidating.
"This is not good." I mean, I can send some of my boys there, to hang back and keep an eye on you if you want.
Lovely. Do we have any weapons on this robot? Or is it...
It's got a flamer and a missile launcher.
A flamer and a missile launcher.
Effectively unlimited uses on the flamer, but it's on the front. And 8 missiles of each of the 3 varieties.
We're basically offense team.
And it's it has a giant claw for its left hand and a giant hand for its right hand that are big smashy hands and stuff.
Yeah.
We are Team Smash. We are offense team.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lieutenant Grant does say I'll say I don't like it. You guys going into a trap. I can send some of my hoppers, or they got one of those new sidewinders to try out from Percy. I don't think he'd like us sending it on a mission, but what he doesn't know won't hurt him.
We gotta know if they're good or not. See if we need to get a refund. So yeah, we should test one of them out. I think we'll leave the hoppers behind, but let's bring one of the sidewinders with us, just in case. It's to test it out. It's.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not going on a mission.
So we'll send Skidmark with you.
Yeah, just some field testing. It'll be fun.
Skidmark is a flight officer. Let's see, what is her name? And her name is Skidmark because she is on various occasions actually come into a crash and slid several meters, carving out a furrow, and still surviving. So. So her name is Sharon.
That has nothing to do with laundry.
Absolutely nothing to do with it, huh? Okay.
That would have been gross.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Well,
Sharon Skidmark Harris. Yes, she's flight officer. I didn't really consider having a Sidewinder Samus, but it made sense. So if it needs to be used,
we'll look it up when we need it. If it comes,
we will use what's necessary. The only thing that's necessary for now is its vertical takeoff and landing in 250 miles an hour. That's and it can run at 100, so that's pretty cool. That's all I need to know.
Works for me.
And Sharon's a competent pilot. She's got a history of crashing down really hard, but it's generally, it's not because she's a bad pilot, it's because she ends up in really dangerous situations all the time. So she is going to basically be at your disposal. She'll be on orders. So however you want her to travel. Let me look at the map here. I need to.
If it's getting kind of crowded in our robot, then perhaps we need to take another vehicle with a big bus or something else. I don't know what else we've got brought in for equipment. I'm sure some stuff like that came with when we sent all the Tomorrow Legion people out here to help set this place up.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have a big boss.
Yeah.
He's got a big. Yeah.
Yeah. We can use your big boss too. Maybe we should just so we have a little bit more room to move people around.
Yeah, and if you do that,
is the train gonna be bad enough though to bring the big boss where we're going? I don't know where we're going yet.
Yeah, that's Let me look at. I need to make sure.
Yeah, so that may not working out anyway.
Yeah, it's probably not going to work. Probably not going to work. You're still on the
we,
southern end of the west face.
Are we bringing Slotty? What's his name?
Sclavi?
Sclavi.
No, but he does
Doubtful.
give you the map.
Yeah.
He does give you a map.
Okay.
We do get the map at least.
And he does not tell you where he's going to be moving.
I didn't figure.
Oh.
We'll be able to find him if we really need to again, but let him have his privacy.
Let me make sure. I need to figure out what river that is.
Yeah, could be a brand new river at this point. You never know.
Well, yeah. I'm just trying to figure out. Is that the Colorado River? Could be the Colorado River. Bear with me.
Alright.
Sorry. I'm just trying to figure out where.
No, you're fine. I'm looking up if there's anything that I might want to see if I could buy down before we go. Probably not, but yes, let's buy an ice drake. That'd be...
Did you say buy an ice drake? What?
Yeah, Techno Wizard robot vehicle. Looks like a frickin' ice drake.
That's cool. Although
I can't.
Techno Wizard vehicle sounds like it would cost a lot of
That's pretty.
PG just to run.
You just charge it up on a ley line every once in a while, you'll be fine. And it's how much does it even cost? It's not that much, is it? It's only a couple million, probably.
What are you talking about? Techno Wizard vehicles? Yeah. Arcana and Mysticism would have the best stuff.
Yeah. I don't have enough money to buy an ice drake, and I don't have nobody who could pilot it anyway, so I was just...
Nope. I can barely drive a car.
Here we go. This is what... Just so I have... Could I do a networking roll to see if I could purchase some freeze grenades? There's a...
Sure. Yeah. So, yeah. Why don't you delve into...
What kind of rare? See, the rarity of those normally would be -2, modified by the...
Well, it's not that bad.
Those are Techno Wizard.
Yep, and we're sort of... I mean, we're kind of rebuilding New Durango, but we supply a lot of stuff to Techno Wizards.
I would say that like it's rare, but like the fact that the party was able to get the Techno Wizard crystals.
Yeah, I'm sure they mass produce them in Arnzo anyway, or not? Is it not Arnzo? No, or Josie. It's one of the two.
It's Laszlo. I think Laszlo.
Yeah, but there's a
Arnzo, sure, down here. Yeah, I think they probably do too.
One of those cities. I think it is Arnzo.
We'll say that like we'll say that kind of your notoriety will offset one of that point of availability. Like,
I mean, aren't magic stuff just in itself just already a -1? So -2 for rarity is not bad.
Are those tomorrow? Is that Arcana?
Yeah,
or the base book?
It's an Arcana Mysticism. Yeah.
I will. I think yeah, just maybe a -1 because the party was able to kind of reconnect the Tomorrow Legion with some of that stuff, and so freeze grenades.
All right. Well, I will persuade my way around to locate somebody who has that and see if they can give me a good deal at a -1.
Hey.
Well,
good deal, but a deal.
I'll probably.
So they're
25,000 credits each, but.
Sheesh.
Well, some of this I am going to be using the wealth rules a little bit because you guys do have kind of some requisition. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So I've got plenty of credits of my own personal. If anyway.
Yeah,
so.
it's going to it's going to offset a portion. So are you good with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, so you definitely are able to find it, and your notoriety. You're let's just say that you're kind of like your favors amongst the people who make these. Not quite as good as it was before, but they're going to give them to you for $15K a piece.
And they've got at least 4.
Why don't you roll a D4 plus 1?
They have 4.
Yep, yeah, they do have 4.
I will spend 60,000 credits on that then.
Dang.
Ooh, doggy.
All right, got some freezing grenades. So they've got entangle, large burst, nice. Yeah, there's also the.
That's why.
There is also the what's it called, the snare pistol in the base book.
Mm-hmm.
Techno Wizard snare gun. It's pretty cool.
All right, I have 4 Techno Wizard freeze grenades. Fantastic.
So you guys are going to meet up the next morning at dawn. If you guys want a second team, if you guys, oh man,
we shouldn't pull too much away from New Durango.
Yeah, like when you're getting ready, like Mr. Royal kind of considers and says he thinks that with all of the things you have, the places that the ATV won't go, the robot should be able to pick them up and carry them over. You probably can't take your trailer, but the robot is big enough to just physically lift up and carry the car if necessary. So that's maybe not a bad idea.
We'll just shove the 5 skeletons in a corner somewhere.
And you can put the skeletons if you're not you've got the giant on the external strap cargo.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the giants.
But there's 5 human skeletons.
Yeah.
They'd probably want those on an external strap too. Like, yeah, they would not want those on the internal cargo bay.
I'll have 2 bomb suits.
So yeah, they will. It'll basically have 2 shoulder strap backpacks. One of Martina and Oscar will share the duties of driving the ATV. While you are not, they do have better than a D4.
Yeah.
And also, when you don't need Flight Officer Skidmark to actually be flying, she can drive as well. Though she's nowhere near as gentle on the clutch and things like that as the other drivers.
Probably still better than me.
So when he says we'll just head south for a bit and then we will, and then I will then I'll give our final destination. Don't want anyone to follow us. Which is kind of hilarious because you're walking slowly.
Yeah.
But we'll say that's far enough. So you get about 25 miles out of town. It's a couple hours. It is 8 p.m. So 8 a.m. you probably leave by 9 a.m. Leave. Say you're there at 11. Let's say you're there at 10 a.m. It's actually pretty. And he brings out a digital device, and you're probably crowded in in the pilot compartment on the ogre, unless someone's like riding in the car or something. But he plugs in a data chip, and it creates a line, an overlay line. It creates a line. Find a good. Yeah, let's just do yellow for now. That leads along the edge of the mountains, and then meets up with this river. This ancient river basin, rolls down the ancient river basin, and meets up there in a place that was known in the old world as Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
All right, Mr. Intentional, Shady, and Suspicious, you going to actually tell us what you want us to do?
Thanks for saying that out loud, Mary. I've been thinking about it.
And
I don't think I'm allowed to say that.
No, that's fine. Yeah, and he looks at you with the gravity of like 1,000 supernovas, and he says, "My job is not to tell you what your job is. My job was to retrieve Barrick's fish. Once that is done, my job is over. Anything beyond that is up to my employer." And then kind of as an afterthought, he says, "Good question, though."
So no.
And you actually, both Mary and Spike, with their sort of extrasensory perceptions, you would kind of find him a bit like irritating to your senses. Like it would almost be hard to look at him even when you're not like focusing. Like he has some sort of like mystic amulet or ring or something that's really just like throwing up a boatload of interference. It's like static.
Well, if you can't hide, then flak. Then use flak, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. So
I'll probably be in the car more often, away from him, because I can get away with it.
Yeah.
That's a long way.
Well, to pass the time, I'm going to just shoot the shit with Midnight and Spike, and if they want to, you know. We don't get a chance to just talk anymore.
Is it? Are there? What's the weather like right now?
The weather.
Because my idea was just if there were like clouds outside, when he says that, I'm staring and looking at the clouds, and I'm just like, does that cloud look like a frag-a-dag-dag? Oh, that's a. Sorry, that's a monster we have in the place where I came from.
Frag-a-dag-dag, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't look that scary.
Yeah, it's high of 40, low of 20. Almost an inch of rain to 2 inches of snow, depending upon, So it's actually kind of dreary.
Okay.
Dreary and rainy.
So
all right, then I'll just be like slightly like line dancing in the rain by myself with no music.
Okay. That is a thing.
And I don't really. and I'm just kind of like, when you're trying to talk to me, I'm just kind of humming this song in my head.
both
I guess
Oscar.
I would say you want to join me. I'm still not very good at it.
Better than
Since
I am.
it is dreary, Oscar would have set up an actual sun lamp to function in at least one of the quarters, as well as the entire cargo hold. Just for that.
How thoughtful.
That's nice of him.
So continuing to BS as the travel goes. Why doesn't one of you guys draw a card as we travel here?
Okay.
Diamonds.
Ah, what the?
And it was a face card too.
And then I clicked it again because my
Treasure.
headphones
Okay. Why don't you guys, as you're traveling along,
Look at that nice giant 7.
Yeah.
a giant card.
Okay, so but the first one you drew the jack, right? Jack of diamonds. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Yeah,
a treasure and it's a face
accidentally
card.
dragged.
So,
He found Montezuma's gold. You win the game.
you guys will actually get you will get a good ways that first day.
You might want to move your line to the map layer for now. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, we kind of know where it's going.
Whatever. We kind of got it figured out. That riverbed is where that's where it's at. It's following that basically. But you get to there and there's kind of a gap in the mountains. And I need you guys to all make notice rolls. And Mel, if one of you wants to have Erica make an electronics
Yeah.
scan.
Have her make it. I don't know if I'm paying that much attention. I'm letting people do their thing. Yeah.
A 5, a 7.
I'm not looking out the windows or anything.
7. God dang it.
I'm a little too distracted, like thinking about all the horrible ways this could go wrong. So I will choose not
Lots
to.
of ways.
I'm just perceptive. Even if I'm not paying that much attention, I'm just like, wow.
What?
No reasons,
Squirrel?
though.
Squirrel?
Electronics for...
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Well, she found it.
So yeah, Erica is kind of scanning, and at first she gets like kind of a panic look and says incoming, and then sort of like shakes and says no, and she kind of like kind of stops, and says, hey, everybody stop. I think I got some interesting readings here, and she starts kind of feverishly tapping at her sensor screen, and she brings over Oscar as well. And they start like, chatting in technobabble and pointing at like this cliff face to the north. And they ask Buried Fish, do we have time to do a little digging?
We don't have any particular timeline that I've heard, so let's do some digging.
And so they spend about you get to this position when the sun's kind of starting to go down, probably like 6 or 7-ish.
Soon anyway.
So they say, why don't we maybe try to set up camp here while we're digging, and then we can stay here, and we'll use some of the rubble for embankments if we need to protect ourselves, and we'll just start digging. And so they essentially do that. You're able to set up your camp, and they are able to dig out actually some old military vehicles.
Oh shoot!
Three Rifts military vehicles. Now they're
new tires and batteries probably.
But it's pre-Rift scrap. You never know what's in there. So once they kind of dig out around what they find, they essentially are like, okay, we've got this stuff here. We know where it is. In the morning, we will bury it over and we'll mark it. and then we'll basically send, you know, like a recon beacon back to New Durango and tell them to come find it. They're not sure what it is, and you guys aren't, you know, technically savvy enough to really understand the significance, but there's some good stuff.
Yeah, if they thought there's some good stuff, well, that works for
Hey,
me.
at worst case comes worst, good parts are good parts.
All right, so we are on the 22nd of April now.
Oh shoot!
Why doesn't,
Yesterday was April Fool's.
why don't you guys? Why don't you make a collective navigation check? To make sure you're staying on course. I mean, Mr. Royal is
survival?
definitely, like, you know, looking over your shoulder, but
I assume you mean survival, 'cause
Yeah.
or survival, yes. Sorry.
I'm like, I don't have.
I'll do
You
that.
will get a.
Are we all rolling, or
Supporting.
If you want to do collective, you can do it individually. You're not going to have any penalty because of, you know, kind of, he already laid out the path.
Yeah, Midnight knows where we're going.
Midnight. You've probably been up in the air flying too, and so you've got a really good bird's eye view. So why don't you draw a card, Midnight?
Okay. Ooh.
That's not good.
Yeah, Ace is high card. Or
Ace
low
is
card.
it's high.
It's high? Okay. Okay. Okay, this actually works. So you guys are traveling along, and you actually get down to this kind of this ancient riverbed. But as you're kind of like getting there, a giant shelf of rock breaks off underneath the ATV. And Mary is driving it.
Of course I am.
Of course you are. So I'm going to need you to make a driving at -2. If someone is potentially in the vehicle with her or in a position to support her, can do that. One person can support.
That's me.
sorry, what was that?
I feel like it would make sense for me to support, right?
It would be up to you. I mean, yeah. If you're the closest, and I mean you're
in the air above her, being like, "Whoa, take it to the left. Whoa, back to the right. Go." You know, that kind of.
Yeah. How would you? So how would you like to support that, with like some persuasion, maybe, or like, because you're giving her direction, basically, like.
I think that's a good call.
Okay.
Okay.
That will work. Now it is a club, so you'll take a penalty. You'll take the -2 on it.
Right. All right, persuasion. Let's go, Mary. Take it to the left. Oh, let me go ahead and Benny that one. I think I can do this. Come on, back to the right.
Come on, D16.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you give her the
do.
maximum of a +2, which will offset her club's penalty.
Oh, goody. So now I just got a D4. Well, let's see how I do. I'm going to try to reroll that. Oh, dang, Benny. Yeah.
A mild
All
success.
right, just barely. Yeah, just barely. You're, basically you're kind of driving along, and then this giant shale, giant shelf of shale just cracks right off, and it starts kind of going in a chain reaction. And like, you feel sort of like the ground underneath you kind of shift, like you're driving in gravel, and then all of a sudden you jerk downward as, you can actually feel it going, and you jam on the pedal. And Midnight swoops down next to your window as you're driving, and it's just calling it out left and right. You just barely make it. And, you're
really glad didn't have the trailer.
And even like you basically get to the robot, you basically kind of bump your front bumper into the robot, your back wheel is still sort of spinning uselessly over the gap as the robot kind of reaches down to kind of grab on and kind of pull you the rest of the way.
Okay.
But you are survived.
I are survived.
Yeah.
That is probably all the distance you will make for the day. The mechanics are going to do some work. There's been 2 days of pretty solid traveling, and that was not easy on anybody or any of the vehicles. So let's see. Why don't what order would you guys like to do your watch for? This night's not going to be anywhere near as pleasant. You're quite a bit of ways from.
Mary will stay up late and take first watch, as usual.
Okay.
I'll take second watch.
With her undead.
I'd like to feel the first rays of sun soak them up.
Yep, so it puts me at number 3 then.
Okay.
If we need.
All right. So let's draw for
And this is
Christine.
This is why the wizard takes long watch. 2 versions.
Okay.
Long watch.
Nothing happened. But you do spike in the morning. Barry's fish does not, like, midnight definitely notices Mr. Royal around. Barry's fish doesn't really notice Mr. Royal slip off in the night. But Spike does sort of notice him kind of coming back to where the robots are. From kind of off in the wilderness.
Okay.
All right.
And then you keep it to yourself, apparently.
Yep.
So let's see. So we'll start in the morning. So
I'm not super reliable as a lookout.
Right. We keep
yes.
letting you do it anyway.
Why don't you draw a card? Well, I mean, you definitely would warn them of obvious threats.
Yeah, if there was
Obvious
danger.
threats,
Yeah, but if it's just something I observed, as I've mentioned before, I'm tripping all the time, so I'm not 100% sure that what I saw. There was a clown involved.
So yeah, why don't you draw a card for the day?
Spike. Okay.
Had windows all over the place. Draw card. It's another ace, but of heart.
This one is heart, which means friendly people.
Okay,
Somehow.
yeah.
Okay.
So you are making good distance. Let's you're gonna make it basically.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get there, you actually let me see if I have. You meet some survivalists. They appear to be, people who hunt and trap and prospect and live off the land. There's there's close to a dozen of them, assorted men, women, and DBs. There's like a dog boy and a side stalker, and they just they make their living hunting and killing things that are, want to hunt and kill them, and they know the land pretty well. And folks like you look like some reputable folks, so we'll leave you be. But if you see any folks who look not reputable, why don't you let us know? And if you need some help, we're generally just around the hill. They're willing to talk and kind of hang out. They offer to eat some food with you and swap rumors. If there's anything you would like to ask them, you totally can.
Well, I will because I'm obsessed with it now. Even though there's almost zero chance they would know, I would ask them if they've ever seen this guy before.
Seen this guy, Mr. Royal?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't even care if he hears me. Like.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Mr. Royal. He comes through here from time to time. He keeps to himself, and his business is his business. But he pays on time, and he can handle himself. And they kind of, and the one that says that kind of gives Mr. Royal the nod. Mr. Royal nods back, like, "Yep, yep."
Huh.
You came through. What was it? About a month back? 3 weeks? Mr. Royal says about 3 weeks. And they say, "Yep, yep, right on time. Always does good business." But they honestly don't know. They don't seem to know much, and they don't seem to be hiding that,
No.
They're just
And
he's a guy that passes through.
I probably at this point just have like it's not super loud, but definitely an audible like just not happy about anything. I don't care who knows it anymore.
All right. So you're able to actually like stay the night. You guys will probably keep watch. But these survivalists don't mean you any harm, and they make sure that nothing bothers you during the night. You wake up in the morning to some fresh meat, from whence you don't know, but it's not human, so they went hunting or something tried to hunt them in the night, and they have breakfast cooked. And they bid you a good day, good travels, and if you're passing on through, like bring something to trade. They've always got food and furs.
Yes, and
so for the next day, we'll have Barry's fish draw card. Mary was the one who was encountered, so yeah, we'll have Barry's fish. 5 of hearts. It's still some strangers, but you don't actually see any strangers. You just kind of you can see some places where that these, now that you met those survivalists, you actually do when you slow going down these canyons, but you get close to your destination and you find an old campsite where you're sure that these survivalists had stayed at some point in time. It's a sheltered area, kind of like a little gully. And are you going to probably have the same watch order that you had the last time?
Yeah.
Probably.
It's likely.
Okay. I'm going to need Midnight to make smarts roll at -2.
Let's roll.
Rolling's bad.
That's my best one, so hopefully, not bad.
We cannot get away on anything today.
Halfway through your watch, you just all of a sudden get really drowsy. Kind of like, you just kind of hear this voice, and you kind of just almost like you hear your mental voice saying, "Oh man, I'm really tired." And you're not tired, but kind of your mental voice is like, "Man, I'm tired." And you kind of eyes kind of droop, but you snap back away. All right.
That didn't feel natural.
Well, at least you didn't get eaten by vampires. That's good.
All right, and then Spike.
Oh, we are in that area, aren't we?
In the morning,
We're getting damn close.
Getting waked up, getting kind of into your watch. I need you to make a smarts roll at
Have -2, you said?
Yes.
Okay. -2. Smarty pants. 5.
Ooh.
you also kind of have like, you kind of feel like, I mean, for you, you're a plant, so tired is a different concept, but you kind of
Mhm.
feel like,
I feel like I'm
the
wilting.
sunflower that turns towards the sun, and like you're just kind of like drooping away, like just drooping down from the sun for just an instant.
Okay.
And then you kind of like, snap awake. You don't have eyes, so your eyes don't snap back open, but like you kind of,
I do actually have eyes. They are like pickle
Oh,
pear
really?
cactuses, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't realize that. That's awesome. So yes, and that is what happens. But nothing. You don't fall
I think
asleep.
I do. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
We can assume either or.
I
You
think
do
I
and
have
you
eyes.
don't. You
I
do
can
and-
certainly see, so I assume I have some sort of eye.
Yeah. So finally, this final day, I am going to draw this final card for your travel.
Diamond. But 2.
Nothing extreme happens while you get to the north end of this lake.
The weather is nice.
Anybody want to go for a swim?
No. I
I
don't think I think my athletics is, yep, it's a D4. No.
I don't really like getting my wings wet if I don't have
Kind of
to.
large. What's that?
I don't really like getting my wings wet if I don't have to.
So you guys get to the north end of a fairly large lake. Kind of rare to see such large open areas of water out here. Let me see. I forget if. Yes. Trying to figure out the preserve. I forgot that this was part of it. Fort Apache.
Wonder if that lake that turned into cement still has all the gold in it.
The what?
There's a lake that basically they tried to drain it, but because it was filled with gold, because the Native American people threw gold into it, and like gold dust and stuff like that, and other gold stuff. But when people tried to drain it to get the gold out of it, the riverbed turned into cement.
Oh wow!
The natural kind, so absurdly
Well, sure,
hard.
yeah.
And this actually happened, by the way, in real life. But so I'm just like, that gold is probably still there.
So when
At this
you
point,
get
you mean?
here,
Yeah.
Buried Fish, why don't you make a common knowledge roll?
I know things.
Yeah.
I know the things.
No penalty. It's straight roll.
Okay, and I don't know if I have anything particular that would give me bonuses to common knowledge rolls.
Yeah, you get a +1 since you've got the Native American heritage. You've been role playing that. So like, this is going to be about Fort Apache, essentially. So
Okay. Bah.
yep. You know enough to know that very nearby is a place called Fort Apache. They are definitely they are not traditionalists. They definitely use a lot of tech, and they're pretty well armed from what you hear. Other than that, you really wouldn't know much other than, don't screw with them. They're not absurdly territorial as long as you're not trying to take their stuff.
Okay.
So on the north side of this lake, Mr. Royal has another day, another dollar. That makes me think of So you get to the north side of this lake, and Mr. Royal says that we can wait. You know, it's still midday, but we can wait. We can wait. I'm fairly certain that we aren't required truth or consequences. So
well,
I
just say is like I hope we're gonna get some answers soon.
Oh, all will be revealed. I'm certain. At least I hope so. For your sake, I have no stake in the game other than, as I said before, finding you and retrieving you. And he's just going to kind of wander down to the. He's going to wander down to the lake, and kind of just walk along the beach with his hands in his pockets.
And Barry's fish immediately feels bad about it, but he briefly has this like positive thought of some lake monster just coming out and eating him. And it's like and then it's like no, that's not a right way to be thinking.
Yeah.
Also, then we'd have to fight it. So no.
Deep Blue Sea style with the shark. We are not. Yeah. Okay. So are you guys just gonna chill here and like kind of like look around, or are you gonna do anything while he's just waiting? Like.
Oh well, I want Erica to see if she can make an extra, detailed sweep of what's going on here, and maybe and while we're doing that midnight night, I think we should both take a little bit of an aerial recon around here and just we're getting close to where we're supposed to be, and I just want as much info as I can. So I will cast Fly and go ahead and join Midnight for a quick aerial reconnaissance. I can't do it for very long. I'll run out of PowerPoints, but
Okay, so yeah, why don't you guys do your aerial reconnaissance here and see what you can match up with what Erica was able to do with a kind of a sensor sweep.
Okay, let me make sure I can fly.
Is that a survival?
We'll do notice to start with, and then if you notice something, it potentially be survival to kind of identify or track or something.
Pump a point into my far sight goggles as well to give me. I think it gives me +2.
+2 to notice, yeah. Okay, at first you guys aren't really able to get too awful much when you get right up there. But Erica is able to send you guys some kind of like anomalous readings. And you're actually able to see off in the distance on the south side of the lake, towards the south side of the lake, it looks like there are maybe some small barges or flatboats.
Yeah.
It's really off in the distance, maybe 8-10 miles, but they're big enough to kind of eagle-eyed with good elevation. Some good readings, yeah, but that's about all you catch.
Okay. Well, there's not an army just over the hill waiting to ambush us, or that we're supposed to attack.
Doesn't appear. I mean, like if there was, they would be on the south side of the lake. Like at least on the sides of the lake that are nearest you, and in the middle, it doesn't appear to have anything. Now, you would know that in Fort Apache, there's several armies just waiting to eat your soul.
Yeah.
So for the evening, we'll have probably the same watch. All right. So Buried Fish, I'm going to need you to make spirit roll at my. During your watch.
I'm making a notice roll.
A spirit roll at -2. You feel kind of a tiredness. You just feel all of a sudden tired.
You want me to do spirit? It's different than the smarts roll
Yes.
I had before?
Sorry, smarts. Yes, smarts -2. Sorry, it's yes. I misspoke.
We're gonna. I don't know what's going on here. We're gonna try one reroll. No, it looks like I'm going to fail this because I.
Okay, you doze off. And you start to dream. You have a dream that starts fairly normal. It's you talking to Mr. Royal in the bar and you guys leaving the bar. But once you step out of the bar, it's like New Durango turns into sort of like a blasted hellscape that looks nothing like New Durango. And you hear booming and sinister laughing kind of in the background. And then you just kind of like wake up covered in sweat, just like,
Sure.
Yeah.
Chris, I don't think that's anything like weird or creepy or magical. I've been just stressed out about this idiot for a long time and think he's some demon, but so I just pass it off as a dream and don't tell anybody about it. I don't think it's just a dream. Nothing happened.
All right. Spike, during your morning routine again, you feel the weariness roll over you. Smarts roll -2 to avoid the weariness.
Oh my goodness. Don't wilt me. 4. I made it, maybe. Hopefully.
Yep. You just, kind of again, you're just like not quite awake, but then you're awake.
That's weird.
All right. It is the 25th of April. 1:10 PA. And as far as you can tell, Mr. Royal says that the meeting place where you're supposed to go is just on the south side of this lake in the ruins of Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Well, I'm not looking forward to the consequences, but I am looking forward to getting some truth.
Ha! How would you like to take the west side of the lake or the east side of the lake?
Farther from Fort Apache, so the east side.
Okay. That works. In doing so, you actually, as you're kind of traveling along, you notice that if you had traveled on the other side, there are quite a few like canals that you would have had to find some way to cross. It would have been difficult with the ATV. But as you are kind of coming around the end of this lake, Erica, all of a sudden, you Buried Fish, are you in the cabin or are you riding your horse?
I'm not outside. I'm in the ogre.
Okay. So those of you in the ogre hear a few, like, you're kind of getting close to the south end here. A few of you in the ogre hear several, like, alert klaxons and several different, sensor, panels going off. And Erica says multiple contacts, no solid read. Power signatures, at least 6. One of them's big. One of them's big. It's in the lake. And you see emerging from the lake nearby, just basically clambering up and bursting out of the water, what looks to be a spider skull robot that has been stripped down of all of its paint.
Oh.
Looks like it's not Coalition. It looks like it's been salvaged or stolen or bought from the black market. It appears to be, much modified. And emerging from sort of the mountain kind of cliffside, kind of above and below, like to the east and south of you, are several power armors descending from the cliffs. Jumping down. They once they're close, you can see that they are Samson power armors, so they're very fast and they can jump very high and land very long distances.
Hail them.
And Erica hails.
I also will be, just to be sure, I will be activating my cyberkinetic awareness at some point if they get close enough that it actually matters, which is has to be pretty close. But yes,
they're gonna at least the Spider Skull Walker basically just gets up enough that like the cabin is above the water. You don't know much about Coalition stuff, but they generally look uniform. Coalition stuff looks nice, clean, and streamlined, and this looks like it's got a gun on either side of its head, but they're different guns, and it looks like some of the legs have been replaced. And the Samsons, Erica's doing some reading. She sends out a hail and doesn't get a response initially. This is Expedition 1-9. This is Expedition 1. This is Ogre. This is Ogre Lead. This is Ogre Lead. We were expected. This is Ogre Lead. We were expected, is what she says. And then she doesn't get any response, and she continues to get readings.
Start warming up
and
our whatever gun we got, just in case. The power flip.
Yeah, there's a missile launcher in the shoulder and a plasma flamer. Flight Officer Skidmark is going to her power armor in case things get dicey. Oh boy. Yes, I'm assuming Oscar or Martina is driving the ATV right now, so they're going to basically look for an exit. Like if we have to run, they'll try to find the quickest way to run.
Get the mummy on the gun.
Yeah, and okay, they would do that. They would tell the mummy to do.
We get no response. I said repeat the response and then lock missile on one of them. If
as you're doing that, Mr. Royal would say, "Don't bother. This is who we were sent to find. This is who I was spent. This is where I was sent to bring you. These are the people. These are obviously people employed by the one who sent me to retrieve you. If you don't make any aggressive action, no aggressive action will be taken. If you'll excuse me, I will go discuss."
Stand down.
And he's gonna crawl out and walk, out towards the front. In front of you guys, kind of between you and the skull. And emerging from the ruins is a small hover car, enclosed.
By the way, I'm gonna go out, jump after I've said I'm getting Rogers and I'm getting out of this ogre to meet whoever's coming.
Okay.
I will be. Obviously, I'm gonna be not following Mr. Royal or anything if he's heading out to talk to somebody either, but I'm gonna get out.
I'll join you out there since I'm already flying around.
Okay.
All right. So he walks forward, and this hover car arrives. It looks like it's a beat up hover car, but it's got like a turret with a gun on it. Some it looks like it's multi-purpose. And stepping out of the car is a large armored figure, fully armored, thick visor, and approaches Mr. Royal, and they have a conversation. Are either of you going to stay close enough to actually hear what they're saying?
If they're whispering, I would not be able to hear it, but I'd be close enough if they're talking in normal voices too, yes.
Okay. So yeah, Mr. Royal said, I have retrieved him, as was arranged. And now, it's up to you. And the armored person like nods their head and turns to look at Barry's fish and lifts up his visor, and Barry's fish sees the face of his brother.
Fucking knew it.
And
fucking knew it.
He says, your arrival has been arranged, and your services are required. I knew you would not come of your own volition if you knew that I was involved. But I believe we can come to an arrangement because we understand certain things, you and I.
Right. Where's his... Oh, I probably can't even see his character sheet right now.
Yeah, here, I can, let's see.
Because I can't even remember what I named him. It's like, begins with a J.
Yes, and his name is Junaluska.
Yeah, that's right.
Here, I will, I can probably... and...
Junaluska.
And now it's gone.
Yeah.
It was there for a second, then it was gone.
Right.
Oh, I moved him outside of the NPC.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot that I forgot that's yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you see him standing there, and Mr. Royal is still kind of standing between you a little bit, kind of off to the side. But yeah, I guess how do you respond? He says,
oh well, I say, I'll never join you. No, I just no, I don't say that. But that's what me as a player is thinking I'd want to say, because but have
Adobe One never told you the truth.
Yeah, I would be at like. It's like, have you finally seen the error of your ways, brother?
Neither of us have seen the error of our ways.
Why did you bring me out here?
I did not bring you. My employers did. It was not my decision. It was theirs. But perhaps we may find a common ground. You see, I have been employed to perform the kind of jobs that your code prevents you from doing.
It used to be your code, too.
Indeed. But it is not a code that I follow anymore. This made me angry when I found that you would not join me. However, just like the Great Wheel of Life, every person has a place. And your place is doing the jobs that other people won't do. So, I have a proposal. You help me do a job the way that you want, so that I don't have to do the job the way that I will inevitably.
Well, if it's done my way, I will certainly consider it. Are you able to tell me about it, dear brother, or will we get to meet your employer and hear it from him?
Oh, my employer is my employer is shrouded in secrecy. Even I do not know all of the details. But I can assure you, they are powerful, and they are wealthy, and for the most part, reliable. But they do not accept failure. As you can see, we were prepared for your arrival in case you decided
What he says,
to run.
they don't prepare for failure, and I kind of bite my tongue.
Yeah.
As I was, staring, non-blinking at this brother of mine.
And he says, "Oh yes, and by the way, I am no longer Junaluska. Now they call me the Ghost Fisher."
Sure.
And he's going to ask you if it was worth it. If it was worth it to flee from the fighting, knowing that all of those people were going to die just so you could maintain your code.
They made their beds. They dealt with the devil. I got as many people as we could out of there. Those who wanted to stay. Unleash all those horrors on Tolkien. I guess you could call that karma.
But you did not stay. Many of those unleashing those horrors were doing it to defend their homes and their people. And then he kind of gets really almost enraged in an instant and kind of lunges forward. Only to have Mr. Royal kind of step between you and kind of nod in kind of the negative, don't. And you can see that Junaluska is still enraged, but just stops.
Yeah, and I had my hand out ready to activate my Psi Sword, but I didn't actually. It's in the position I would hold my hand right before I did that.
Yeah, and Junaluska looked like he was just about ready to charge forward and pummel you. He didn't look like he was gonna but he just stops, and then Junaluska says, "I employed him to find you and to protect you.
You will find it difficult."
And then he kind of
you will find it difficult for us to work together.
It's not my decision. It's the decision of those who would pay. Perhaps they think that you provide some service. Perhaps they think it is some sort of
I'm not
great cosmic joke to be played upon me. It is not for me to question.
I'm not out here to be just working for whoever pays the most. If this doesn't have some alignment with the goals of the Tomorrow Legion, we're going to take our ogre and we're just going to turn around and walk out of here.
You have a map. And that map leads to gold.
Really?
Oh, yes, indeed. You've met the old man. The old coot. Doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground most days, but on the days where he's sane, he'll tell you some amazing things. Stories of gold. Gold that brings immortality. Amongst other things. Now, it's my employer's intention to find this gold. If you were to come along, then any innocents caught in the path would potentially be placed out of the path of harm. But if you don't, then I will find the gold at all costs. It makes no difference to me.
Well, let's see. Are we going to get ourselves into trouble here? Threatening the innocents in front of a Cyber Knight.
That's not great.
he's not threatening them. He's giving you an option. At least that's, you know, you would know that that's how he sees it. Like,
Barry Sister's having a very hard time right now because 2 of my hindrances are conflicting right now. Actually, 3 of them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I assume you're Val, but
what else? How about 4? So I got a code of honor. I'm also a pacifist. I don't like starting fights. I have an enemy here. And I'm thin-skinned, and this. So like,
I think you have.
So like, this is all like.
Well, I would say it's your pacifism might actually be in your favor, because he's essentially telling you that he can either go in like a bull in a china shop, or you can go talk to the china shop owner and make sure that everyone's out before he goes.
Yeah.
Kind of. You know.
Also, Tomorrow Legion stuff like.
Well, but Barry's Fish isn't involved in the black bag operations of the Tomorrow Legion, and they haven't involved. You know, like he knows it's there, but
both of those options end up with you destroying the china shop, so you kind of get your way either way.
Yeah.
Which maybe means you're the one that needs to be stopped.
He makes a very good point.
Of course, actually trying to stop them would require being with them. God damn it.
I'm going to kind of put my hand on my chin. I'm going to kind of turn around. Is Spike, are you anywhere nearby? Are you elsewhere?
I'm kind of just wandering around.
I'm going to try to get your attention subtly by just trying to, you know, my back to them, looking towards you.
I'd be close enough that we could still have the psychic switchboard on, so.
Oh, in that case, I'm just like, wow, a immortality through not your own works. Almost never.
So I am going to give Spike an order through our mind link to destroy the map.
Oh,
destroy the map. I don't want these people having it. We'll go rescue the people, but we're not going to get it, and they're not getting the map. Destroy all whatever. If there's any record, like internal cameras or anything that got a picture of the map, have them erase all records of it, and I give you that order, and then I turn around and it's like, all right, how do we help get these people out of the way?
Who had the map? Where do we have it?
I'm sure it's probably in the ogre somewhere.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So
Bobby gave you just basically he gave you a hand-drawn map that was essentially drawn over just a real basic atlas style map of, you know.
Sure. I will nonchalantly just start wandering away, pretending that I'm just aimlessly wandering like I have been this whole time, but now I will be heading toward the ogre too.
Well, I know you guys were hoping for treasure. We may still get it some other way, but I think this is the way to go. And it makes sense with all of my hindrances here. I think that's the best way I could deal with this situation.
If they had sent literally anyone else,
it
probably
true.
Wouldn't have come into conflict.
So he's going to say, so yeah, as kind of that's going on, he's going to say, basically just that, you know, he's gonna have a little bit of a monologue about how, you know, there were good people in Tolkien, and some of those good people were forced to do terrible things to try to defend themselves, and not all of them, you know. It's you know, valid points, but he's definitely a little bit too self-righteous.
Well, right now I will tell him I agree. We can agree to agree.
Is he older or younger?
Or
are you twins?
No, we're definitely not twins. I kind of imagined that he was slightly younger.
Okay. So yeah, he's a little bit fiery and a little bit kind of maybe makes a few statements about how, like, you know, he's Revan, you know, like he's the Jedi exile. Like you sat there in your towers, you know, when you could have acted. He does that for, you know.
Yeah.
He does that for like a few minutes.
I would kind of like, well, for now we can agree to disagree. We have our goals somewhat aligned, so we'll have to just put that aside for now.
Very well.
The guy who just had the map destroyed.
Very well. We've set up camp in the ruins. Truth or consequences, indeed. And he's going to put his visor back down and go walk over. And he says, "Have your people follow. We will escort you to our camp." And he gets into the hover car, and Mr. Royal also gets into the hover car with him. And they fly off.
Oh gosh.
And you now notice the Spider Skull Walker looks like it's probably not going to follow you. It's kind of like looks like it's probably just going to back off and continue to hide in the water.
It probably is so crappy at this point. Like, if it was not held up partially by the buoyancy of the water, it probably couldn't walk on solid ground anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely seen better days. However, the power armors, there's at least a dozen Samson power armors that are carrying some very business-looking rifles. They're some sort of energy rifle, but they don't look like the kind of thing you want to screw around with. So they're going to escort you.
Okay. I'm not expecting that because I know Spike, and I didn't say it, and for story reasons I did this on purpose. I didn't tell Spike to try to like memorize what was in there, what it looked like even on the map. So he's probably not going to even remember like anything about it for later. He's going to just destroy it, and we won't actually know it. Nobody will know.
He's Henderson with the Necronomicon. Henderson takes the page of the Necronomicon, and everyone asks, "Where is it?" And Henderson's like, "Oh, that piece of paper? Yeah, I ran out of rolling papers. What, you needed it for something?"
Yep.
Yep.
I was thinking we could roll the die and there's a certain % chance that I accidentally memorize it.
Why don't you roll?
If you want to do it that way.
What's your smarts? D12 plus 1?
No, it's a D10, I believe. Hang on.
Wait, really? Huh.
Yeah, it's like how much you kind of don't pay attention a lot of time, and you're tripping and stuff.
-4 smarts roll. If you get a raise, you just memorize.
Well, no, I was going to have him roll a D100, and if he rolls under his smarts, he remembers.
Oh, so
because I say that I would probably do D12 -4 for anyone else, but Spike is so airheaded that like I needed a larger scale. So yeah, roll a D100 if you roll.
A 1 or a 10, between a 1 or a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you would remember.
No.
Nope.
So you don't even consider looking at it. You look at it enough to see that like it's like basically the manila envelope that says, you know, Sclavi's map or something, you know, like, and then you just basically dump it straight into, you know, I don't know, the workshop has like an industrial incinerator. That makes sense.
I was thinking about eating it, but I don't know if I have any sort of way of eating it. So.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay.
That makes it funny. I'll do it. So
that should be interesting for Jordo's plans.
That was a good move. That was a really good move.
That is.
Or was it?
I don't know, but it made sense for the character too.
So you guys end up inside the ruins of Truth or Consequences. It seems like it seems like the group that you have met are just mercenaries, because the group that seems to be at the camp are actually a lot more eclectic looking. There's some people that well, why don't you guys make some common knowledge rolls to see what kind of things you recognize about these folk.
Okay.
Nope, not -2, so I actually got a raise. Unless you wanted a -2, but...
No, this was going to be a straight roll. I was going to add there's various things, so I just figured I'd add the penalty.
So, I got an 8.
Well,
Okay.
Midnight got it. Whatever it is, all of them.
Yeah.
Mary's yeah, got lots of stuff.
So, okay. Yes, you would recognize, Mary would actually recognize some what are called battle magi, or at least people wearing the armor of such. They're kind of like physical adept magicians that go into combat, fairly well known in the Federation of Magic. There are also several others, some various DBs look to be wearing the accoutrement of mystics, psychics, and arcane users. Looks like it's a group of supernatural and magic folk. Looks like Barry's Vicious brother has taken up with some people who, well, they appear to be aligned with the Federation of Magic, or at least, their ilk. No visible demons, or kind of like the really diabolical DBs.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely a good cross section of weirdness going on there, and none of them look friendly.
None of them look friendly.
No. When you get there, Mr. Royal would have, gotten there a lot quicker in the hover car, but he would meet you and say that he will attend to any of your needs in so much as he is capable. Apologies for the conditions. The renovation should start soon. Chuckle, chuckle. He says about the ruins, but he does say that that what they are planning is a heist of sorts. If you would need anything that you can think of ahead of time, and things that you can think of along the way, I will try. However, I'm employed to assist. And that assistance has limits. And then nods.
You're employed to assist them, us, all of us? Are you?
I am employed to assist this endeavor. And then he says
Does
to
that
you,
mean you can tell us what's going on?
Yeah, well, and he says matter-of-factly, he says, yeah, what's going on is you're trying to find gold, a great deal of gold. Now, what this gold means to one person is not necessarily what it means to another. And burning the map, foolish move. You think I didn't already look it over?
Yeah, figured.
And he taps the side of his head, and he says, I know more than I see, and I see more than you would believe.
Give me a reason.
Well, if your brother, hothead that he is, has his way, any and all obstructions will be dealt with quite decisively and definitively. It was believed that you may be able to temper that particular urge. The circumstances of this heist would benefit from discretion rather than blind lashing.
And this heist, like, who is it being taken from? Who has it now? I do not know.
It's uncertain who has it. It's uncertain who has it. What is known is the path it travels and where it goes. It is unknown precisely where the gold comes from, as far as I am aware. Now, I do not know everything. I am certainly kept in the dark on many things. I, for example, did not know that you were brothers. Surprise. Though not unexpected. But yeah, no one knows where, as far as he knows, no one knows where it comes from. They know the path it takes, and they know where it goes.
Just lost someone.
I'm still here. Hello?
Hello?
Say what? Okay, good to go. So yeah, so what anything else you would like to I mean, now that you're actually here, and now that you're kind of in, so to speak, he seems a lot more talkative, willing to answer at least, business related questions.
Was all this cloak and dagger crap really necessary?
He says yes. There are powers that would look down upon the theft or misdirection of this gold. Powers that are beyond the comprehension of mere mortals.
Oh, fucking
like you.
hell.
And then he would kind of like cock his head to the side and say, although you are a bit more than mortal, although you are a bit more than mortal, or at least on your way.
No.
Well, hopefully it won't be for a while. I'd like to at least get to be a teenager.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions, I guess.
Well, if
I'm all twisted and turned around.
If you can't tell us any more about who or what has it right now, like...
yeah.
The only other thing I would ask him, since he's a businessman, is like, I wanted an answer, like, how much would it cost for you to take that knowledge of what you saw on the map and just walk away from here, to pay more than you're being paid now?
Contract.
He's gonna sit for a second. He's gonna calculate it. And he's going to say, it would likely cost more souls than you're willing to reap.
That just went straight to pissed at that point, Mary did.
And he says as a follow-up, because it would be at least 2.
Well, if
my services are not cheap.
Well, I have to be blunt with this guy. It's like, I don't want anybody getting that gold. Not my brother, not you, not myself.
Well, if you were listening earlier, I said theft or misdirection.
Yeah.
I'm not sent here to assist your brother in specific. I am sent to ensure that this endeavor is successful.
And the endeavor isn't to get gold, it's to stop whoever's currently getting it. Huh. We are in something way bigger than our paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a
This
endeavor out here.
Well, there are powers like there's probably demigods and shit involved with this going on right now. Like, yeah. Well, it's like you clearly must. You understand what a cyber knight is, and like, and what I will and will not do, and if you understanding that and that gets to the result that you want, then we won't have a problem here.
You see, that's where you keep making the mistake. I'm here to help you achieve the end that you wish to achieve.
No, that's what I'm coming to understand. So,
if you wish to avoid wanton destruction, then I can assist. How would you like me to assist?
Well, clearly there are things even you are not ready to share or have full info on, but this lot here, you know, like should probably not have access to any unnatural powers that they don't already have,
and denying them access to unnatural powers would be a useless endeavor. They'll find them one way or the other. Yeah. That's not the trick.
That's the Federation of Magic for you.
Yeah, but not here, not today, not on my watch. So
keep your brother in line, and perhaps an arrangement can be made.
Don't worry. It's kind of my responsibility to keep him in line and those like him.
Indeed. Very well. Well, if you need anything, let me know, and I would recommend not talking to the locals, especially you, young lady. They will eat you alive, literally in some cases. And then he then he just leaves. You definitely get updated from Erica and Skidmark and the techs. They mentioned that like they didn't actually come. They were sort of rerouted to the place where the mercenaries do their maintenance, and the mercenaries actually, from what these from what they have ascertained, the mercenaries are just mercenaries. They're not loyal to anybody but money. They're not involved any more than they were essentially on standby to take you guys down if you hadn't come along quietly. All of the they're all outfitted with non-lethal like capture style systems. So someone wanted at least Barry's fish to be brought in unharmed.
How much of a wild card is your brother that they go to this much effort just to get you here?
I don't know. All I can tell you is, it's well, I don't know if I can tell you. Well, I just, if you didn't know for sure, if you don't know the history that well, I mean, you probably know the basis because you probably would have learned it from the Tomorrow Legion. Like, it was partially founded out of what happened at Tolkien, like, but the Cyber Knight fraternity kind of,
the schism
happened. Yeah, like when the war CS was declared war on Tolkien. The leader of the Cybernetics, Lord Coke, didn't want us getting involved. And people in Tolkien summoned a lot of nasty shit from demon dimensions to try to protect the town, and some of the, including my brother, didn't want to sit back and watch it happen and got involved.
And I think just over the course of some time as Sir Barry's Fish, as you were like working with the Tomorrow Legion, would you have asked them to get you information on your brother if they heard it, or would you have just more or less ignored it?
No, I would have wanted to know. I was always the chance of trying to bring him back into the light, but
fair enough. Yeah, so you wouldn't know much other than he was.
So,
yeah.
If they'd heard, I want to know if they'd seen him or anything like that. I would have wanted to know, but if you got close,
you would have kept it quiet enough that, but the pilots and tech seem like they're in better company, to say the least. And Erica kind of adds as a kind of like an afterthought that Martina and Oscar are kind of like subtly trying to get these guys to maybe work for the Tomorrow Legion, just because the Tomorrow Legion can keep their shit in working order. Everything's falling apart.
Comparatively, they're not doing so good here. But...
yeah. So you guys are here in this city. I think this is probably a good place to kind of call it for the day. You will discover through just kind of, the duration, some basic information about this particular stagecoach that carries gold from an unknown place to a known location. And the general consensus is that it's some other dimension using Rift's Earth as a smuggling route. Basically bouncing between two different portals on Rift's Earth to essentially cut out the middleman of, maybe their own taxes or something. Who knows? But why? But no one believes. No one believes that it's a stagecoach. No one believes that it's gold. But that's what all the stories say. So you will discover the truth behind the transdimensional smuggling rail gold, or smuggling stage gold. It's smuggling stage gold. It's smuggler's gold.
Yeah.
And I mean, all gold is better if you can steal it from a smuggler, because he stole it from someone else and he's sending it to someone else at cut rate prices. Oh, those dirty smugglers.
All right.
But yeah, so that's you will likely learn more, but
Barry's Fish isn't happy about anything right now. He's had
he's not.
He's not. This is the worst last 5 days, or this whole travel here and getting here. It just keeps getting worse.
Yep, and just to make things even worse, you guys are probably keeping to yourselves for the most part. It seems like everyone, all of the kind of Federation of Magic scum, they all think your brother's just the shit. They think that the Ghost Fisher is the shit. And they tell you all of his exploits.
I have the strangest feeling
really
I'm going
great. It's all the same couple stories. But they're stories of his time in Tolkien. So you would essentially just learn that he lost a leg, but kept fighting for a day or something the stories kind of change on what he did after he lost his leg. But
there might be a couple that I actually know, and it would potentially know if he's lying. If these stories have definitely changed a lot based on what actually happened.
Oh, sure, yeah, and and they never tell these stories when he's around, and he actually isn't around much. He seems to be keeping to himself, but yeah, they seem to think he's the shit.
Well, I will warn before we end for this. I would definitely let Mary and Spike and Midnight and my rest of the Tomorrow Legion crew to just keep a wide berth from my brother, and we're gonna not try to take him down during all this because of this sort of hero worship going on right now. But obviously, if things get bad, we're gonna have to. But let's
I have the
feeling
I'm going to have difficult in any after battle souls go where they belong during this.
Some would be so obvious they can't resist. They have to go to the place. They will get yanked down as fast as you can possibly imagine.
Oh, that's not
All
what I
right.
was talking about.
So that's probably where we can call it for today, at least for the stream.
It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. We're doing all kinds of horrible things. Potentially, we're trying to keep other horrible things to happen while other horrible things might be happening. Who knows? But you're gonna have to find out next time on Rifts for Savage Worlds. Thanks for listening to the end of this episode. If you've made it this far, congratulations.
Hooray!
You can check us out next time. Also, go check out Roll20.net, an amazing virtual tabletop that can handle lots of role-playing games, including Savage Worlds. Speaking of Savage Worlds, go check them out. And Rifts for Savage Worlds at Pinnacle Entertainment Group's website, peginc.com. And for even more Rifts, including the original role-playing systems that was started, 1990, I think? 90? I think it's that old.
Back in the day.
Way back in the day. Go to palladiumbooks.com. See you next time.